Well, they closed down the mill and they closed down the mine. They said you can't work but pay your taxes on time. Got 3 little babies gonna starve to death or freeze. We started making white lightning, it was Grandpa's recipe. Run, rebel, run, run to no avail. Run, rebel, run to the Searcy County Jail.
Hey everyone, happy Thursday night. We are hearing somewhere a little bit different.
Yeah, just a little bit. We are locked and live here from the First National Bank building here in Huntsville. As many of you know, we were granted permission to use the bank building by the town of Huntsville. So thank you to Mayor Jeffer and the aldermen for allowing us to make this part of our historic preservation project. And so we are here today. We've been working here doing different things. So we thought, let's just do the podcast from here rather than walking 100 feet to the jail, because that's just what we did today.
Yeah, and it's kind of messy and rainy.
Yeah, it's messy and rainy out. But thank you all for joining us. We have a great guest tonight. We are very excited to speak to this gentleman about his location. But first, a couple of housekeeping things. As everybody knows, the Southeast is experiencing a very big weather phenomena right now with the hurricane. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody. They batten down the hatches. So everybody just take shelter, get out of the way of the hurricane. But that being said, it does have a path projected to come up to Tennessee. So because of that, we will be closing the jail tomorrow, just out of an abundance of caution. We don't want anybody out in the rain or the weather that's supposed to be projected to arrive here tomorrow afternoon. So please note that the historic Searcy County Jail will be closed tomorrow.
Yeah, we've also gone ahead and closed down our tours for this weekend, because even if, you never know how things are going to go when it's predicted, they are giving just torrential rain and the potential for storms and wind. So we've gone ahead and shut down our tours, our after dark nightly tours at especially historic Rugby, since those are outside, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights at this time. So, but we are also kind of gearing up for spooky season, gearing up for a very, very, very busy October. So, so this is just going to kind of give us a little more time as well to take care of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As Miranda said, we are slammed for October. We have a few investigation dates left. So if you want a paranormal investigation in October, you must get on the calendar ASAP, because those dates are filling up. We've had guided ghost hunts starting to fill up as well. So have a few dates for those. And then we're pretty much doing something every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night here in October. So if you want to jump on a tour, if there's still tickets available, go ahead and grab those, because we'd love to have you. But it is going to be a busy October for us.
Yeah, right now we're capping the tours at 10 people per tour with the lantern tours and flashlight tours. If by some chance the popularity rises on that, we may be able to add a couple tours to the mix. But as of this time, we still have a few tickets available for some of the different tours. So we have that pinned to our Facebook page. And so you can go in and you can see all the tours. And if you visit our website, as well as I'm actually going to pull it up here. I don't know why.
Why are you trying to describe it?
Yeah. Play a game of charades here. So we will go to if you'll go to historyhighwayshaunts.com and either select historic Rugby After Dark or the historic Searcy County Jail page, you can see all of the things that we have offered, or you can call the number at the bottom of the page there and we can direct you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And even though we've got a busy October, we are going to take one night to do a little something fun for ourselves. And that is going to be on Monday, October 21st. As many of y'all know, last week we had a really cool episode with Captain Tom from Lake Lanier and the boat cruises that he has offered, that he's going to be offering in October. So he has graciously invited us to attend on October 21st. This will be the 6:30 p.m. cruise. If anybody would like to join us, you can go to the website, book your tickets for the 6:30 cruise, and you'll be cruising with us, aka the Ghost Biker, Soul Sisters Paranormal, Historic Scott County Jail, Historic Rugby After Dark, all of those things rolled into one. So we're really looking forward to this. And we want to thank Captain Tom for allowing us to be part of this really cool experience.
Yeah, and if you didn't watch last week's show, definitely go check that out, because he shared a lot of the reasons that Lake Lanier has got the reputation of being the most haunted lake in North America, and just absolutely fascinating. He cleared up some of the different rumors that were out there, but also shared some different stories, but didn't go into too much detail to just, you know, I can't think of my words, not to
keep some mystery.
Exactly.
Keep some mystery about the lake, so you can, you know, join his cruise. But again, October 21st, the 6:30 cruise. If you're in the area, we would love to have you. The tickets are very reasonable. We actually stop at an island and we disembark and do a paranormal investigation on the island. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So y'all come on out and join us. Again, October 21st, the 6:30 cruise.
Yeah. And so this weekend also, we've been talking about some of the different festivals that we're going to be a part of. And this weekend is the Heritage Festival at Scott County High School. And as of right now, it's still on, and that's all day Saturday. We've got the information on our website. However, we have been in communication with the festival folks yesterday and today, and they're going to be making a decision tomorrow at noon as to whether there's going to be a rain cancellation or what's going to happen with that. So we will make that announcement as soon as we know something. I mean, I think right now it's like 60% chance of rain on Saturday, and the very bad part is supposed to hit us tomorrow.
But the problem is the flooding.
Yeah.
So they are predicting a lot of flooding here. So all throughout this Appalachian mountain chain, it's supposed to be pretty intense. So that's the reason why. So even if it's not raining, the potential for bad driving conditions is going to be there as well. So out of an abundance of caution, like we said earlier, we will be closing, but we will keep everybody abreast of the situation for the Heritage Festival.
Yeah. So all that being said, come see us during the month of October. Check out our past episodes. Don't come tomorrow, and stick around with us for the next hour to hear about our guest as we continue our special series that we do on jails from all around the country. And I love this. This is my favorite series that we do.
I know. It's so much fun, and we get to meet such cool people.
Yeah. And so this is our first time talking about a jail that's in Arkansas. And so I know I've been talking to tonight's guest for a few weeks now, getting prepared for the show, and we've got a good one. So put your questions there in the comment section. If you don't mind, put them in all caps so that we don't miss you guys. And like I said, if you will help us in welcoming Mr. Bob King from the historic Buffalo River Jail and Museum. Let me get him pulled up here. Hey, Bob.
Hello.
Hey, Bob.
So thank you so much for taking the time tonight to come on and talk about your location.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and it's great to be in with like-minded people and have shared similar interests, because as much as we love what we do, we also have to fight fights, and we have to have a great deal of camaraderie with our fellow historians and lovers of our history. And we thank you for allowing me to be on tonight.
No, absolutely. Again, as Marianne said, thank you for taking the time. So we're absolutely fascinated by your location, about what you offer. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the jail that you represent?
Well, I am a pre-Civil War family here to this part of north central Arkansas. My mother's family got here in the late 1830s, possibly 1840. My dad's family, came later. They didn't get here till 1850, but particularly my father's family, the King family, they came from Wayne County. Like a lot of people in this part of the country came from Wayne County, Tennessee, and there's a lot of shared family names and location names, and so we have a great heritage and link to your part of the country. Me personally, I went to school here in Marshall, graduated, and went off to college, and long story short, ended up being at the old State House Museum in Little Rock, which was the first state capitol. And I just got there with the historic preservation program, and I was at the right place at the right time. And the state needed some people that were specifically trained in historic site maintenance. And so I was selected to be one of the first 3 in the state of Arkansas, and they sent me off to school. And so I spent 13 years in Little Rock at the old State House Museum, and learned it, loved it. Got a chance, though, to come back home, and came back here. And then after several years of being a photographer for the school, I got an opportunity here to work with our Chamber of Commerce and restore the old jailhouse.
Oh, nice.
It was built in 1902. And to this museum we have here today. And we tell 2 stories. We tell the story of the building, and we tell the story of the people.
Okay.
Wonderful. So can you give us a little more information about Marshall itself? Any interesting facts or?
Well, we are a little small town, less than 1,400, but we are the capital of the county seat of Searcy County. We're the only Searcy County. There's only one Searcy County in the entire world, apparently. So that's crazy trivia. We're also the world's headquarters for chocolate pies. We have a chocolate pie festival here. One time, lots of typical small town pride, and these are festivals and such. But we have an interesting history. During the Civil War, we were part of an area that did not want to secede from the Union. There was called the Mountain Feds. A lot of that, also in Tennessee. And we've got some specific stories here that's related to that. We have a number of things that we like to talk about, not only just the Civil War, but we're also a frontier country where we had a pretty good history with our U.S. Marshals out of this jail, and going over to the Indian Territory and doing several things of interest. And we have a gallery called Badges and Bad Men. And basically it's very similar to what you would find in Fort Smith with the U.S. Marshals and fighting, matter of fact, the last train robbery in Arkansas. Our sheriff and deputy marshal caught the gang. So we have a lot of fun. We also were the location of the very first Indian reservation west of the Mississippi. The Cherokees had their very first reservation here in Arkansas before the Indian Removal Act moved them over to Oklahoma.
Wow. We're looking at a picture of your building here, and it's absolutely beautiful. Is that sandstone?
That's sandstone, and now that's a picture that I took, and it's a little enhanced before we finished with the restoration there. And so we've cleaned up the stone just a little bit, but it's an interesting architecture. It has that facade up there at the top, which gives it a little character. And we love our building. We got a grant from the Historic Preservation Program to restore the building, but everything on the inside, our 7 galleries, were all donated local funds. There was no federal money or state money for that matter. So local people dug into their pockets and actually funded the actual museum itself.
Nice.
Oh, that's
now,
wonderful.
Tell us a little bit about the history of the building. So you said it was 1902. It was constructed.
1902, and it served as the county jail until 1979. And by that time, the primitive conditions here were just said, no, you cannot constitutionally house inmates here. And so from 79 until 2021. It went through a various stages of some use and neglect, and not really open to the public a lot. But we got the money, and we opened our grand opening on December the 3rd, 2021, for the public. And so we've been going great guns since then. We get about 35 to 40 states visit our little area each year. So we are an all volunteer staff. We're open from Wednesdays through Saturdays, 10 until 3. Our season goes from the 3rd Saturday in March. Usually that's when spring break is in Arkansas begins, until the Saturday before Christmas, and we shut down for winter months. But we have a very, very dedicated staff of volunteers, and we're very fortunate in that, like all good museums that are successful, you have people that believe in what they do.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, does the county still own the building, or
we have the funding of this is it's imaginative and creative. We have a lease with the county for an extended period of time. Our Chamber of Commerce has the right over there visitor information center here in the building, and so the chamber actually pays much of our overhead. We have a 501c, the Buffalo River Community Development Corporation, which also helps in paying for the internet and a few other expenses. And so actually we have, other than our liability insurance, so there's some before pictures. That's what it looked like before we got started on the working at taking the old flooring up. It had asbestos, and cleaning everything up to taking it down the walls. And we found some neat stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
We found some really neat stuff. Look
at that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we don't have any overhead. Everything that we are supported by various groups that pay all of our bills, and so everything that we get here helps us to improve the museum, the exhibits, and add some nice extras that you might otherwise not get in our building. But yes, these are all of our before pictures where we went through there and did clean up. And there's my lovely wife doing some things. Matter of fact, that's the room where I'm at right now.
You go, girl.
Okay.
So we had some really great help from the state Arkansas Historic Preservation Program came up and made sure that we did everything by the book. And so once we got the building, and then we got our museum, and we're kind of proud of it. Matter of fact, this is being a centerpiece of the downtown restoration, Marshall, where we're doing a historic. We're working on a historic zone here. We will be purchasing right next door after the first of the year, with the help of our nonprofit corporation that's helping us, buying the oldest building probably in the county. It's a pre-Civil War log cabin, which was beautifully restored, and the owner is selling it to us at a real discount price, and that will be part of our living history. It's an 1868 cabin that will be added to the grounds, because next year we're going to do some historic arboretum and expand our footprint of the museum.
Oh, that's fantastic. We're kind of going through the same thing here. The bank building that we're in right now, the town allowed us to utilize this. We just got in here a couple weeks ago. So the fact that you're actually expanding as well, I mean, that's just amazing for your community. And, all the love that you guys are putting into it, and all the hard work is just, that to us is what we love. That's what we love to hear as well.
And what's the easy thing is if you're coming from very low expectations, where people had seen this thing set here for years and years and years and kind of deteriorate, and things around it deteriorating, and then you start showing people what things can be, and with a little bit of care and a little bit of money, you can totally change attitudes. You can totally change energy and excitement and people's expectations. And now from accepting some things that didn't look so great to now they're saying, oh, that looks great. We need more. We need better. We're now looking at putting in some trees in downtown area that had lost their trees. And so we're looking at being involved in all that also. So it's when things go good, they domino. They expand. And so it's exciting to be a part of that.
Oh, absolutely. So just to backtrack a little bit, the restoration project for the jail, how long did that actually take y'all to get in there and really get that completed to your satisfaction?
2018, we got our first small grant. We got $15,000. And that was in 2018. And that, well, actually going back to 2016 is when the chamber said, let's restore that old building. And I will be very honest. I said, no, you can't. I know what it takes. And I'm not going to be involved in anything that's not of a professional nature, of something that I can be pretty proud of. And that's a big task. It takes money and effort. And I don't know that we're up to it. Well, our chamber president, Daryl Treat, kept saying, yes, we can do it. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And his positive vibes rubbed off on me. And son of a gun, we've done it. It started in 2016. We got our first grant in 2018, about $15,000. We had a $5,000 match. We came in and we tore out stuff. And that's where some of those pictures you saw. You first had to get down to the bones. Yeah. And then in 2020, we got a $200,000 grant. But as we all know, that's when COVID started hitting, about the time they got involved in that. And it drug on for a long, long time. We finally were able to do enough to get everything together that we opened in December of 2021.
Wow. That is fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. So going back to some of the stuff that you actually found there during that restoration, obviously you probably have those on display.
Yes,
there,
we do. We do.
Tell us some of the unique things that you were able to find when you started going through that.
Okay. One of the things that you find, and of course, this was a time when the law did things a little differently. I found a pair of brass knuckles, homemade brass knuckles. Now, whether or not they were confiscated, they probably were confiscated from somebody that was not was being invited to spend the night here, so to speak. We also found a homemade billy club. And a variety of those things that were deep under the floor. We pulled the floor up. We found those, and then there's a lot of neat stuff. We found some neat letters, and then we had another person give us some things where what you think about the history is often true, but it's those little things that you didn't know, those little details which add such color and such life to it. For example, one of the cards, one of the business cards, the U.S. Deputy Marshals carried a business card. Now, you young ladies are too young to remember Paladin and Have Gun Will Travel. I was a big fan of that show, and he had the card there, and it said Paladin, San Francisco, Have Gun Will Travel. Well, apparently that's not far off truth, because the U.S. Deputy Marshals had their own business card, and we found one was given to us, of F.J. Tennyson, U.S. Deputy Marshal, Calf Creek. And that's a small community just west of here. And I did some research, and F.J., he went by Joe, but his parents named him Flavius Josephus Tennyson. And Flavius Josephus was the Jewish historian that wrote everything down that we know, most of what we know about ancient Rome. And here you have a family that lives in the backwoods that is aware enough to name their son Flavius Josephus. Of course, he went by Joe.
I would too.
So, these are the little local color things, the little things that help bring some life to these stories.
And, going back to the fact that once you start working on these buildings or trying to bring it back to life, you do get these stories. I know when Miranda and I started working on the jail, we had so many former inmates, former deputies, former jailers come and tell us these stories that, to your point, we wouldn't have known otherwise unless we had that oral narrative of what they actually experienced. So while we have physical artifacts that we have in our museum, the stories of some of these individuals are just as colorful as some of the things we actually display.
Yes, and you're showing now, that's the women of the Ozark Frontier. This is our newest exhibit. It's actually in the ladies' cell, and we were able to tell 10 small stories of 10 ladies that did some amazing and exciting things in their life. Great courage. Great sacrifice for their family and their community. One of the stories there was a teenage girl who was during the Civil War. She was a kind of a spy for the federal troops that were this was during when the Confederates were in control of the area, but the Union sympathizers were off hiding in caves, and so she was taking food, and as a courier after hours, she'd ride these taking food and was courier from one group to another. Well, at one point, then some of the Confederate, or they were probably militia, came in and wanted to know where her father was, and she wouldn't tell, and the wife wouldn't tell, and she was a 14-year-old. She was the oldest child at the time, 14-year-old girl. Okay. Well, there was like a 9-year-old son that they hung up by the thumbs to get him to talk.
Oh, wow.
And she said, "Is there not a gentleman in this group?"
Oh, wow. Good for her.
And so one of the guys stepped up and says, "I'm a gentleman, let that boy down." And so she was sharp enough to appeal to Southern gentry, a gentleman wouldn't do such a thing, that she kept her son from being tortured, and did not reveal the whereabouts of her father and uncle.
Wow. Good for her.
Now, do you all do a lot of temporary type exhibits in your museum, or do you have multiple exhibits such as this that you're just speaking about?
Well, we have 7 galleries, and we have 6 of them are permanent galleries. The ladies' cell gallery, the women of the Ozark Frontier is the first temporary exhibits going in. We're going to do 18-month to 2-year temporary gallery, so there's always something going there. We also have an area in the what we call our boom time. There at one time, even though we're very poor, it was a boom area here, and we've got a small area over there about medicine in the Ozarks, where this will run about a year. So it is important to have a certain amount of change in galleries so that people think, well, I've been there, seen that. Why should I go back? And so we want to always keep the stories fresh and give them a reason to come visit.
Absolutely.
And I like the comment that Michael has talking about the local talent providing the voiceovers, because that's so great that you all have included the community. Do you find that the community is very involved with this?
It is. And this is one of the very pleasant, I won't say surprise, but the degree and people. We're very fortunate in that we do have a certain amount of new growth, people moving into the area that have an interest in history and have an interest in they may have come from a larger area, from Dallas or someplace like that, and they're trying to get part of the small town feel. And we've got that amount of energy, and then we've also got some residents here that's old timers. Looks like I'm becoming one of those real quick. That know the old histories, that do not have love to share the stories. And our local library, the Searcy County Library, has got a fabulous genealogy section in the basement, and they've started years and years and years ago of collecting historic photos and stories and collecting all the local bits of history so they're not lost. And we have had over the years people in our community that had a interest in preserving the history, and that number seems to be growing here with people that, for whatever reason, like to dig in the stories that maybe they've never heard, or they're looking for reasons of why things are the way they are.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you go back just a little bit and describe the jail itself? Now, I know that you said you've got the ladies' museum, or the ladies' exhibit in one of the cells. How many cells were in the jail at the time?
Okay,
when it was in use?
this is a small. It's a small building. It's 36 by 36, 2 stories, and with thick walls. And so there was about 700 square feet downstairs where were the living quarters, and that is where the jailer or the sheriff or the county or county sheriff or somebody was always living here, because the prisoners were upstairs.
Okay.
There was one area downstairs where it was called booking, I guess, and they would bring those in, and then they would take them upstairs, and there was a men's cell and a ladies' cell and a room called the day room where they could kind of come and go. There were very few ladies actually put in jail here. So that area was often open. And sometimes if you had 6 or 7 kids living in the 700 square feet, it made for crowded. And on more than one occasion, when they locked the men up in the men's cell, there were where the ladies' cell, the daughters of whoever the jailers is would actually go up there and live in that and have their bed in that room, which is right across there. And you'd think that seems like kind of a scary, dangerous area. No one really thought too much about it because the men were really locked up in the cells. And so what was really interesting is we were able to maintain all the graffiti on the masonry walls.
Nice.
One of the good things about being poor, you never had the money to fix things up. So you just kept things the way they were. And so during the restoration in the day room, there was all just graffiti names and, like how many days they were in jail and stuff like that. Cool. And the biggest name there was a lady's name, a girl's name. And I thought, then I found like 2 others. So it made me wonder, well, was this Jesse James's girlfriends or Ma Barker's ladies were captured here? No, it was the daughter of the jailer who went up there as a teenage girl and signed her name like the Outlaws. I mean, what does a teenage girl do? That's what she does. And her girlfriends up there did the same thing. And so you had that kind of a humorous thing where the biggest outlaw names here was actually the teenage daughters of the jailers of during 1920.
That is fantastic. Good for them.
I like that. Now you've provided us a video that we can show if now would be a good time.
Sure.
To do that.
This is your program, and I'm just here to make you look good.
Well, you're doing a great job, Bob.
You're doing fantastic.
Great job.
So we'll play this quick video, and then we'll jump back into the discussion. So bear with me just a second as I get that queued up. I know things are running just a little slower on our end with the wonky weather here, but here we go.
there has been negative
That was great.
propaganda put out about me.
Hold on.
That's
What is
not
going-
What's going on here?
Not here.
I don't know what that was.
That was the
You were,
Goshen-
okay,
Goshen machine.
you were looking at the paranormal, so maybe that was a spirit from the jail that I don't know anything about.
Maybe.
so. What I found fascinating about that video is just how similar some of the stories that comes from your area kind of mirror some of the stories of, like ours, with the early moonshiners and the war between the moonshiners and the marshals and the deputies. It's very similar.
Well, actually, it was a lot of the same people. It said Wayne County, where do you know where Wayne County is in Tennessee? It's okay. It's on the southern border, right above Mississippi, Alabama junction there, and so a large percentage of our early settlers came from Wayne County, and so there's. I'm sure that if we can go back, the people from Wayne County came from Eastern Tennessee. So it's just a natural flow from there to here on down to Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
where, that's what Davy Crockett did it. And so did everybody else.
So, you kind of brought up the paranormal just a little bit there. So we have to ask, because our viewers like to know, is there anything spooky that happens in your jail?
No, I've been here all hours of the day and night, and I can say we have not. I've not seen any spirits of unexplained origins. No, there was one gentleman that hung himself, an inmate here, that his situation was untenable. And so he committed suicide here in the museum, in the jail, not the museum then. Back in the 1930s, and but nothing here like that. Now we did have part of an exhibit, and it's down now, about not really paranoid, but we have a thing called a galrow, which was a monster that. All communities have their monsters. We have a really good one called a galrow. And as a matter of fact, the Arkansas Gazette in Little Rock ran a big story about that. And they put the story like it was true, where the 20-foot long dragon that lived in the hills in a cave just off the Buffalo River, and they killed it. And they sent the bones to the Smithsonian, but like the Lost Ark, they lost it. And so,
of course, you had to lose the galrow.
Yeah.
The one and only specimen they've got.
That's right. They were just a one of a kind, and they killed it and lost it.
So what was the typical sentence in that jail? Like the sentence time, I guess.
Well, it would vary. A lot of them were just like the Mayberry, Andy, throw the guy in the drunk tank. We have a beautiful drunk tank. The highlight of the museum is our drunk tank. Now it is from the E.T. Barnum Ironwork Company of Detroit, Michigan, and apparently he is not related to P.T. Barnum, at least not very closely. But we've got a catalog that has our cell here. And so they would be thrown in the drunk tank to sober up, was probably one of the most common thing. And so that would just be for a day or two. We do have some graffiti that would show 2 weeks or more, marking on the wall. But generally what would happen is there would be the local crimes held until the local trial. If it's more serious, they would be then transported to the state prison. And so there was never any case of someone spending weeks or probably a couple of weeks, but months here, just waiting on they were arrested, on trial for whatever, and then go from there.
Okay. Now I know we get the question a lot here. Who is your most famous inmate? Now we obviously have ours, but do you have any?
No,
how do you
that's
answer
one.
that question?
we may have to go out and arrest somebody that's famous now and put them up there to do that. But there was never any infamous or person that got put in jail, except and I'm not sure, now that I think about it, there was a gentleman that who was the sheriff at one time, went to in the early part of the 1900s, and I need to find out if he was before this jail was built or after. It was about early 1900. But anyway, the story goes that he went to Little Rock to take the tax funds. The county sheriff, at least here in Arkansas, is called sheriff and collector, and they would collect the taxes and take them to the state capitol. Well, on his way to the state capitol, he heard about a card game in Texarkana. Oh. And he went down to Texarkana and took the county's winnings with him, lost, then came back to Little Rock and said that he was beaten up and the money was stolen. Unfortunately, somebody that was in that same card game in Texarkana ratted him out. And so he did spend a little time here in jail before he left and then went to Idaho.
Everybody's got that one sheriff.
Yeah, that one sheriff.
Hopefully it's just one.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Exactly. Well, that's a pretty great story, though. Goodness, you can have a display. We've got the card game set up, and nothing like a museum on the fly. That would make a great exhibit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, our most famous inmate was actually Ernest Tubb, the country singer.
Really?
So he was in here for a night. He had gotten drunk at a concert nearby, and they arrested him. So we actually put up an old microphone and had some of his records on there, and it's a great talking piece. People love it.
Yeah. Ernest Tubb, one of my favorites.
Well, he spent the night in our jail. The jailer gave him a guitar that night, and he played a private concert for our. But it, just a little microphone and a couple of records on the wall makes a really cool.
Wouldn't it have been great if somebody had been able to record that?
Oh, yes. I know. Yes. It'd be great if we had the booking records. We can't find those, but that would have been a fun thing to have as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that, and that's the best part, I think, about all of this, are just those homespun stories that we would never know if people didn't come in and tell us that. And I'm sure that you all probably get quite a bit of that too, from either people who were former inmates or former jailers, sheriffs, that kind of have their own stories that if they didn't share, nobody would know.
Well, and as a matter of fact, I learned of a story less than a month ago. We have what's called the Spirit Gallery, and it's 7 stories of people that really showed independent, defiant spirits, a great deal of courage, self-sacrifice for the betterment of their neighbors, their community, or their state or nation. And one of the stories was about a lady who was actually the very first female bank president in the state. Was here. She created her own bank in 1940, and she was a president. And she was a very spirited, feisty woman. And in 1934, she ran for treasurer, the county clerk's office. Okay. And in the 30s, it was rough here, boy. And so she had the story goes, and this is on the exhibit, the nephew followed her into the room where they were counting votes and looked around, and everyone had a gun. And so Mary Massey came in, and she's about 4'11", and he was really concerned about her safety. And the story goes that she just sat down there, pulled a pistol out of her purse, laid it on the desk, and said, "Okay, you SOBs, let's count votes." And that very nephew was in here about a month ago and was talking, and I said, "Are you that man?" He said, "Yep, that's me." And I said, what pistol was it?" He said, "It was a pearl-handled .45.
Wow. Go girl.
And so,
Heck of a
you
purse.
just get those kind of little neat stories that, and then someone walks in and gives you even more detail.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right, and that's just, again, to Miranda's point and to what you've been saying earlier. I think this building, because it did have such an impact on the community, obviously ours and yours as well, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knew about the county jail. Everybody has some story associated with it, whether it be on the jailer side or the inmate side. And so while a lot of people see an old building, we're seeing story preservation and historic preservation. And, I know that there was some people in our community that said maybe we should just tear it down, and that would be such a waste. So to know that you're doing such amazing thing with your historic preservation, we love talking to people like you that have such a passion for what you're doing.
And you're right. You can go across this country and find the same story with different details, but it's the same energy, the same passions, the same struggles, the same fights. And so, it's good to be able to talk among us with similar interest and share our stories. And it gives a little more encouragement, because there are times when you think, my gosh, I've spent all this energy and done all this work, and we're still having to fight. So, but then you hear that, everybody else is doing it too. So it gives you a little more energy to keep going.
Do you find that, as far as, kind of speaking on those terms, do you find that as far as your museum goes, do you have more local visitors that come in there, or do you get more tourists from around the country?
Well, what is interesting, I would say that the first year, it was there was a higher, very high percentage of locals. But now that the locals have come in, now I would say the majority are out of towners. Now we have the Buffalo National River just north of us, and we're surrounded by the Ozarks, and we're an hour and a half up the main highway from the suburbs of Little Rock. So we get a lot of day traffic to the river, and campers and that sort of thing, and people that like to get their Airbnb cabins. And so those are the people that right now would make up the majority of it. Matter of fact, my note here from today's volunteer said it was had a lot of folks came in. Great day, 4 different states. So
very cool.
So there you go, and it's rewarding.
Yeah, it absolutely. So you said you're the chocolate pie capital,
chocolate roll festival, chocolate roll.
So what do y'all do? Like, do you have different festivals and stuff, or different events that are unique to your jail that'll draw people in?
Well, the chocolate festival, that's not really. That's one thing. That's one day a year, and it's not that big. The biggest draw here is that we've got the river. We also have a world-class drive-in movie theater here in town that is one of two, I believe, now in the state, and it's the only one that's open year-round. And so we have people that come up here, and they're just looking around. What is there to do? And so I think a lot of our just walk-in traffic that are people here that they've come up for the weekend, or they've got a place that they're staying, and they want to just see what there is to see. And you can see right there some of the things on the screen there. The far upper left, that's the Buffalo River, and then we've got the Kenda Drive-In right to the right, and that is a major draw. It's probably the number one draw here to our little community. That you'll get on a Saturday night, you'll have 200 plus out of town cars here watching first run movies.
Wow,
that's cool,
right? I love driving movie theaters.
I know there needs to be
more. And this one it's state of the art digital. It's houndstooth clean in there. It is so family fun, and so it's one of our reasons that people come up here and they spend the night. So what else is there to do? So they come to the museum.
Wow.
Very cool. And there's yours down here. Nice.
And
So, go ahead.
no, please.
So is there anything that you guys are doing special for Halloween, for Christmas? Any special events at the jail that we can help promote?
Not specifically. We in the past we have done special events here. For Halloween. We're the group that did it last year is not going to be doing it this year, and so we do not have anything. Any special events that we're promoting. Of course, Christmas will be a lot of fun. The Marshall Christmas Parade comes right by literally within 15 feet of this building. And so we have a lot of fun for Christmas. And we put our tree up and we decorate, and we are one block off the town square and probably 250 feet from the courthouse. So we're ground zero for a lot of things in the county. We've got the city park is just to our west, and so we're kind of in a busy area here, and we're developing that and just enjoying our little victories and hoping for bigger ones.
Well, good for you. And you know, we've looked at the pictures here. It looks like you've got an amazing jail, and kudos to you and to all the volunteer staff and everybody who's had a hand in really preserving this really cool piece of history.
Yeah, it looks truly beautiful inside.
It does.
Well, thank you. A lot of work. We've got a lot of talented people. I said every one of our galleries has an AV an audio video component. We have a video that's about 5 to 7 minutes. It's all local production, local talent. Even our exhibits on the walls were produced about just down the block to a company that did all of our interior work. We were fortunate that the actual interior construction of the museum, we have a gentleman here that moved from Dallas, that he worked for a company that did museums there in Fort Worth. So a lot of our success is just being at the right place at the right time with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And that passion, because it truly shows whenever people are passionate about a location, because once those people are not involved, it's really hard to find others that can carry that on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Bob, thank you so much. Let's see. Do we have any other questions here at all?
I was just kind of looking. I think we've covered most of the questions. I know you kind of talked about how large is the town itself?
1,400 approximately. The county is actually less than 8,000, and so
Wow.
we are very small. And the Harrison, 40 miles to the north, is our big town, and it's 12,000. And then, then going south, you get into Little Rock. Conway is a suburb. It's an hour and a half. So we're in the backwoods, rugged, near wilderness, Ozark Mountains.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
Nice.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for being with us tonight and sharing the history of your museum and your jail, and just telling us some more about your location. We really enjoyed this conversation.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Hope that if you're ever in this neck of the woods, you come over and say hello. If I'm in your way, I'll just knock on the door and like a long lost relative.
Absolutely. You're
Come
more than
on.
welcome.
We'll sit you down and give you something to eat.
Yeah.
Just
Sounds
like a
great.
long lost relative.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you to
you.
everybody who's been in the comments tonight as well. If you're in the path of the hurricane, please stay safe, batten down the hatches. If there's anything that we can do to help you at all, reach out. We're going to be, again, if you missed the beginning of the show, we are closing tomorrow just because of the severe weather. And we will keep you posted on whether or not the Heritage Festival goes on Saturday.
Yeah, and so again, gearing up for spooky season here. We've got some great things planned for October. Ghost Biker Exploration Season 7 is going to be releasing, and We will have a show tonight, even though I didn't get the thing out. I'm trying to get prepared for the crazy weather that's coming through. So it is going to be a short show tonight. So thank you all for asking, but we will be on at 9, but it will be a very short show. So,
yep. And again, check your calendars for October 21st, Monday. Join us on the Lake Lanier cruise. We are doing the 6:30 cruise. All the information is at the beginning of this show.
Yep. And we'll also post links to that so that people can get tickets and check that out. So.
All right. And if you're ever in Arkansas, please stop by and see Bob and tell him that the Jailhouse Informant sent you.
Yep. We've got all of their information. Follow their social media page because they do put a lot of really great stuff out there. They'll keep you abreast of what's going on out there. So follow that page. We've also got their website on there as well as any contact information. And we just hope you'll go and check them out.
Yep. All right, everybody. Be safe and have a great evening. Thanks again, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Stay safe, Stu.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Mm-hmm.